Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. My name is Riley Magnuson. I am the part-time co-host here at East Coast Sports Investors. Mr. Jeff Dawson, the host of East Coast Sports Investors, is still out on vacation. Not sure exactly when we'll get him back, but you're still stuck with me for the time being. We've had some nice shows this past few days here. Kiefer and I went down the Big Ten and SEC preview road yesterday on Thursday's show. So if you're looking for some looks as far as, Kiefer obviously giving us the insights on the two big games of the day, and then we also went through the rest of the SEC and the rest of the Big Ten schedule. So if you missed that, go ahead and check that out. I'm not quite sure what we've got going on this weekend as far as content is concerned, but these last few days. Obviously, World Series recap. We've got 3-2 now we're looking at for going back to Houston, 3-2 Astros. Phillies had their chances last night. Couldn't get it done as far as, putting on more than those two runs, obviously. Phillies get out to the lead and hang on to it. So going back to Houston, down 3-2 for the Phillies. Probably felt like they needed at least one of those to have a great chance here going into Houston, which should be a crazy environment in and of itself. So I'm sure we'll, maybe Lucky and I will talk about that after we're done talking about some NFL, because that is what we're doing today. It is the Friday afternoon show, so typically, or has frequently now been coined as Lucky's Locks, with typically Jeff Dawson and Lucky's Locks. I've been able to pop in a couple times, but no Jeff Dawson. Lucky and I are going to go off and run and look at a little preview and see if he or I have any insights on any of these games, see if we're leaning any which way, agreeing, disagreeing, and whatnot. So we'll get to that in a second. We've got a couple NBA, or a handful of NBA games tonight. Had a couple last night. Orlando Magic get the upset over the Golden State Warriors. That was obviously a very good game. 130-29 win for the Magic. 9.5-point dogs get the win. And the Thunder and Nuggets look like it could be a similar trend, and then the Nuggets step on their throats at the end of the game, go 122-110 for the cover and the victory. Handful of games tonight. We'll touch on or we, depending on what we're feeling for time here. We'll touch on some of these games tonight. I've got my Bulls Best Bet of the Day blog out already on ChiCitySports.com, and actually I haven't put it on my Twitter page. I've been out running like a chicken with my head cut off, so I don't even know if I've had a chance to do that. That's something I need to get on top of. But Chi City Sports, if you haven't caught it, I have 6-3 on the season so far. One best bet for each Bulls game. They are in Boston tonight. Wish I had a little bit of a sounding board as far as what to expect as far as the Boston side of things from Jeff. Being in Boston, but it's interesting. We'll see. I've been trying to give out sound plays as far as not picking the Celtics and maybe pushing people away from the Bulls tonight as far as the spread or any money line action there. But we'll get there when we get there. Cavs and Pistons, Clippers, Spurs, Nets in Washington. The Brooklyn Nets saga continues tonight in Washington. And a handful of others. Knicks are in Philly. That's obviously Philly is making headlines. Milwaukee 7-0 in Minnesota tonight. And then the Lakers getting their second win of the season a couple nights ago, hosting the Jazz. 6-3 Jazz, everybody's darling so far. And I think we've got a little college football tonight that's at least worth mentioning. Duke and Boston College. Duke 5-3, BC 2-6. UMass and UConn. Don't get any insights from Jeff Dawson as far as UConn is concerned, but they will be in action tonight. 4-5 UConn Huskies, favored by 15 tonight. And then the Pac-12 game tonight is actually a pretty good one. If you haven't been paying attention to these teams, Oregon State in Washington, both teams 6-2. Oregon State technically 23rd ranked right now. Washington just on the outside. They are favored by 4.5. So we will get there when we get there. But it is Friday afternoon. We're here for some Lucky's Locks and some NFL insights and previews from whatever we're looking at, whatever we're seeing on the old Circa slate. The Circa Super Contest in the NFL is rolling along, and Lucky's been a huge part of it and has graced us with his presence every Friday. So let's bring him in. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right after it. I'm showing up a little late today, so we got to keep things moving today. Like I said, I'm running all over the place. But nonetheless, let's not waste any time. Let's bring in Mr. Follow Fate himself, Lucky's Locks. Lucky, my friend, good to see you. How are we feeling today? How you been doing this week? How you feeling headed into week 10? Week 9?
Week 9 NFL.
Week 9,
Doing
I think is
good.
right. So, how are we doing?
We're doing good, Riley. How's your Friday going?
Like I said, I'm obviously a little late to the party here as far as what we were supposed to do, running around like crazy a little bit, getting stuck in Friday afternoon Chicago traffic. But I got a smile on my face, so it could be worse. I'm doing all right.
All good, my friend. We're going to tackle the board here. It's Week 9 NFL. Time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
And if you
Kiefer and
catch a few
Kiefer and I had to
tickets,
check each other yesterday as far as the college slate, as far as week 10 or whatever it is, week 9, and realizing we got to appreciate what we got left here the rest of the way before it goes by too fast.
well, I had no regrets last night. I'm not surprised the Eagles ended up winning, of course. They're 8-0. Who knows when they'll lose? They'll lose probably when we least expect it.
Uh-huh.
That's just the way these things work. And the Texans covered the spread. My condolences to those people that took a big spread on prime time. Thanks a lot, Packers. Riley, I could have killed myself last week. Knew we were done at halftime. Thought we were in good shape at halftime. It was one of our circa picks. Didn't like the fact that it was prime time, and I thought Aaron would come in and maybe have a game. What surprised me about that game, and then we'll get into this week's board, was, the Packers did what we talked about on the show. They ran the ball, and Jones had a terrific second half.
Yep.
Maintained possession of the ball and kept Allen away from the field. And I think the Bills took their foot off the gas pedal to a certain point. But it will be interesting to see if the Packers learned from that, and I hope they did. They've got a division game they need to win. Might be the season. Got an opinion on that one. Not sure if I'll put that one on our board, on our circa contest. But Packers are 3.5 point chalk on the road. Do or die. So.
It is do or die.
Definitely.
I almost would call it close to a must win. I mean, obviously you still have the possibility of rattling off a bunch of wins after that, like they've done in the past. But if they go to 3-6, I was somebody was as far as Packer personalities was asking the question, like, aside from playoff games or playoff implication games, like maybe you need to win their last two to get into the playoffs or something. Like, is this one of the biggest must-win Packers games of the last 20 years? And it's definitely in the conversation. And the biggest thing that worries me, I feel confident in the Packers. Obviously, offensively going up against this Detroit defense, you would hope that the Packers have some momentum and are progressing in the right direction. But obviously, I don't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the Lions. They're 4-19 or 4-20, whatever it is, under Dan Campbell. But on their, there's those days where they have those spirited performances, and at 1-6, I'm a little worried that they're going to give the Packers their best shot at their best game of their season. And if the Packers play like they did in those 3-4 games against Washington, Buffalo, or not Buffalo, the Jets, Giants, whatever, then they might lose to the Lions. So that would obviously probably be the season. And the optimism is probably going to go through the tank for beyond what it's already been. So I'm optimistic, but I'm not. I'm not using the L word, the lock word on the Packers this week. Definitely not.
When I handicap NFL, one of the things I look at is who are they playing next week.
Mm-hmm.
And there are cases where I think it matters. I think that in this case it matters. Cowboys are next. Packers have to win on Sunday. They're not going to beat the Cowboys at home. I don't believe. Or at least I like the Cowboys' chances.
Okay.
So I run into the assumption, if you lose Sunday, you're 3-6. If you lose Sunday, you're probably not going to win a division, given the fact that your Vikings are 6-1. They're finding ways to win. So that's a foregone conclusion. Unless there's injuries, anything can happen in the NFL. We know that. There's still a little bit of time left. But the Packers have to run the ball because they have no passing game. I don't think their offensive line has been good, and I don't think their defense has been as good as I expected. So I'll be the first to admit to you, I'm still surprised by their record. I'm not a LaFleur fan. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Lions have nothing to lose on Sunday.
Right.
It might be their season. Now, Aaron has done well in Detroit, as you know. I can't lay 3.5 with the Packers. If we're talking about my pocketbook, it'd be Lions or pass for me. And the fact that the Lions were leading 21-7 last week and they find a way to lose
Yeah.
every single week. I mean, Campbell's on the hot seat. Uh, I'm pulling for the Packers because if the Packers win this week, then you're going to have a team that will be motivated next week, and the Cowboys are going to have a game. You
Yeah.
know,
As far as that Cowboys game, as far as just on paper right now, I agree with you. My confidence level in that one, if I'm a Packers fan, if they can beat the Lions, Aaron Rodgers has owned the Dallas Cowboys for the most part, and that is where a lot of my confidence would come from, and that would be a huge game as far as any potential wild card races are concerned for the rest of the year. And again, it's probably not a must win. If you lose to the Lions, then obviously you almost have to win 10 of your last 11 or whatever it is. Obviously, if you want to true or whatever, I don't know, 7 of your last 8, whatever it is. But anyways, I don't have the capabilities of pulling the board up for us here, Lucky.
oh no problem, I have everything. And the
But you
thing
got it
about the
right there.
yeah, I
Obviously,
got it. I've got it. I'll go over a few games here.
sure.
One thing about that look ahead line for the Packers and the Cowboys next week, keep in mind for the audience, Cowboys are -3. So
Yep.
that'll be a good role for the Packers. One of the things I do look at too is what is the role of the team? It's like an actor. There are actors that are really good when they're supporting actors, and they're not as good when they're leading the show.
Right.
And I attribute the NFL similarly. You have certain roles with teams, and they just perform better. And I see the Packers. This is a must game. This is a must game.
Yeah.
The one that's got my eye, Riley, and I think that I'd like your take on it. Um, Chargers are at Atlanta. Our Atlanta Falcons, for the people of the South, they're in first. Riley, the Atlanta Falcons are in first place in the NFC South.
I had Arthur Smith as one of my considerations for first coach fired. And again, I still don't love his play calling, but obviously as far as CEO getting the guys on the right track, like they've been obviously vastly exceeded my expectations. So yeah, continue. I was not expected. I mean, the Panthers obviously were this close from being 3-5 in first place. So yeah, it's anybody's game over there right now.
Riley, in the challenge of handicap in the NFL and making money in the NFL, we obviously know there's a lot of, it's week to week. There's a lot of variance, but you can't handicap turnovers. You can't handicap turnover ratios. You can't handicap the Atlanta Falcons, who have been outgained in every game this year. Yet they're 6-1 to the spread. They're tied for first. Is there going to be regression? I would think so. Then the Chargers come into town. Mr. Mariota's been playing terrific. He's actually got probably right now, he might have an all pro vote. I mean, the way he's playing, he's doing terrific. Their running game is good. You've got a situation where Patterson's coming back for the Falcons.
Yep.
Got the Chargers as road chalk, laying 3. Chargers are 12-3 on the road. Excuse me, they're 12-3 they're 12-3. I'm trying to remember this. I just saw it today and it kind of caught my eye. Chargers are 12-3 to the spread off a double-digit loss at home. So worth noting.
Okay.
Staley's one of these coaches where I have no idea what he's thinking.
Right.
I mean, 4th and 1 at the 2-yard line, you're up by 3 late in the game. Who knows what he'll do? Probably kick a field goal. He's one of those that he's hard to read. But a lot of the locals here are very worried about the Chargers because this team was supposed to compete for the West.
Right.
And I think their over/under was 10.5 in Vegas win total.
I think that sounds right.
And at the end of the day, they haven't played well. I think they have an injured quarterback, but they should win this game. I mean, they've got Kansas City on deck. I don't think they'll look ahead to Kansas City. They'll have them here in LA. It's an absolute must game for the Chargers. Falcons were lucky to win last week. That's on my radar for Circa. I think that might be a Charger victory. Can they cover the three? Well, I would think that 60-70% of the time you win, you cover. That's the only way I would look there.
Right.
The other one that I find intriguing, that's getting a lot of wise guy, I think, notoriety. I don't want to call myself a wise guy, but I handicap and doing this a while.
Eh,
Tyler Heineke, my friend, he's 2-0 as a starter. They believe in him. I think the defense is playing quite well. You're close to the scene, and you see the Vikings probably very regularly. How
yep.
are they 6-1? You know how? They're taking advantage of turnovers.
Yeah.
Last week they were 5 for 5 in the red zone. I'm going to be honest. I don't see any other. I don't see any other side there with the Commanders at home. They opened up. Vikings opened up 2.5 as of. I think today it's 3. It's 3 on the Circa contest. We like Washington there. That's one of the dogs that we're going to look at. I really like. I really like the angle, Riley, and viewers. I like when a team has a double-digit spread, and I look at how do they do the week prior as a double-digit spread, and it's infrequent, but it happens. You've got the Bills. As an example, you had the Eagles and the Bills this week.
Mm-hmm.
Last week you had the Eagles laying, I think it was 11 or 12. It was double digits against the Steelers. They cover and win. They come back on short rest. They are on the road. They're laying double chalk. They don't cover. You've got this scenario with the Bills. The Jets can't score. The Jets have a good defense. The Jets have a turnover-prone, in my opinion, quarterback.
Yep.
Bills were double-digit chalk at home, blew a lead, coasted to a win, didn't cover, much to my unhappiness and many out there. Now you've got the Bills laying 12.5, open to 10.5. But can the Jets score? Because I think the Bills will get 20, 27. What's the Bills team total, Riley? Do you have that one available?
I was just pulling it up. It looks like 28.5 for the Bills.
28.5. So if you believe the Bills are going to score 28 points just on that average, do you see the Jets scoring 17, let's say? That's how I would handicap that game. So it's one of those where I think there's going to be steam on the Jets on Sunday. I can't play the Jets. Bills or pass for me. The other one that's very, very enticing and we haven't even talked as a group. We'll talk tonight. You've got the Rams and the Bucks. You talk about two teams that are very, very. I wouldn't say they're desperate, but this is it's almost a desperate situation for Tampa. I mean, Tampa Bay's playing in the NFC South. They could still win this.
Yes.
They've got to turn it around, obviously, starting here. But you've got a Ram team that lost at home, battled the 49ers, were off a bye. We're up 14-7 and played like crap in the second half. I mean, the same old demons showed up.
Right.
Pass rush, pressure on Stafford, couldn't move the ball. My favorite coach in the NFC West, Sean McVay, decided to keep Cooper Kupp in the game when it was 31-14 and it was a done deal. And as you know, he's dealing with soft tissue ankle. So if Kupp plays, I like the Rams because I don't trust Tampa, and I think the Rams are more desperate. I think on Twitter, if you follow me, I mentioned it over the course of the week. It's a case of who is more desperate, who wants this more. Because I believe Tom Brady, who is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, if he's not, he's certainly in the conversation, has Tom tuned out. You know, that team, that body language worries me because the Ravens, I mean, just took it to them in the second half at home with Tampa leading 10-3. And these are signs to me on teams that are on their last fumes.
Yeah.
if you're leading at home 10-3 and you're struggling, you need to win, and you lay an egg even up 10-3. That's just not good mojo.
Right.
And I think the Rams losing at home actually have more to play for and will bring in more of a drive to win than the Bucks. I would take the Rams. I might play that one on a teaser. I don't play a lot of teasers, but I think this is a good teaser week, and I would think the Rams. You're moving them up to those key numbers 6, 7.
Yeah.
Nine's not a huge one anymore, but I rather have the Rams +9 than +3. So I think that's an option. And um, the other one that caught my eye, and I certainly like to get your take on it,
Yeah.
Riley, is this is the old banana in the tailpipe. The Giants got me last week because I didn't see how Seattle could be favored at home. Okay. I saw most of that game. The Giants really were never in the game. Yeah, it was 13 all, but they were outplayed, totally outplayed. And
Right.
you knew Seattle was going to end up being the right side. Now you're in first place. Geno bandwagon. You are going to your Arizona Cardinals, your lame duck coach. Why is Arizona favored? It smells to me.
Ah,
Vegas is saying to me, to John Q. Public, to anyone that wants to listen, to quote Jeff, man, they want Seattle money.
yeah.
In that series, the dog has covered 12 of the last 15 times. Seattle's a better team than Arizona. I mean, Kingsbury, all due respect to our friend Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson, Kingsbury was my choice to be the first guy out.
I
Yours
know.
was Smith. You remember the show. Yours was Smith. I told Jeff mine is Kingsbury. Jeff said it was our buddy in Carolina.
And that was right. Yeah.
And that was right. I mean, Seattle's offense is solid. Geno's playing. I mean, I tell you, Geno Smith made a couple of throws last week. I thought it was Kurt Warner in his prime.
Yeah.
I mean,
Seriously.
they were dimes to lock
Yeah.
it. Um, I apologize.
No worries.
That wasn't the bookie. It was nor the auditor. Um, why are the Cardinals favorite? I mean, that's one of those where I think it's one of the old lines. WTF, wrong team favored, but why?
Yeah.
Vegas is a lot smarter than you and me. Why are the Cardinals favored? Smells.
It, it smells, and I don't have an answer for you. And I'm honestly staying far away from that one because it's one that I typically would play. Because I can, if you want to tell me the Seahawks are gonna regress at any point, then I can definitely be talked into that narrative. I just, as far as what you're saying about the Cardinals, maybe they have their better days ahead of them, but I have no interest in backing them in any fashion right now. Because even if, I mean, you can say whatever you want about Kingsbury. Maybe you think he's a good coach. I don't think it can be denied that him and Murray don't have the best relationship and don't see eye to eye, though. I don't think he's a very good coach. I think that was a great pick by you. And whether it's this year, next year, offseason, I don't know. I think he's going to be gone. But part of it, as I think, is their relationship, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. Him and Murray, the way the way they work together, they seem to be, or at least Murray seems to be jawing at him often. But I don't know. That is one of the stickiest ones for me for sure. I have more of a consensus. It looks like money's pouring all over the Seahawks. As we speak, and these two teams already played each other, and the Seahawks won 19-9. So maybe you think teams that maybe are pretty close split 1-1. But I'm with you. I'm not touching the Cardinals, but it stinks a little too much for me to be interested in the Seahawks there.
Yeah, it's going to be for me. It's Seattle or pass in that game. I want no part of the Raiders and Jaguars. I mean, the Raiders laid an absolute. You talk about laying an egg in New Orleans. I mean, that was almost one of our circa plays. we lost 3 games last week at Circa. We've had back-to-back poor weeks. We're still, we're lurking. We're hoping to make some ground here soon. Um, I'm not touching that game. The Raiders to me stink. I don't like the coaching hire. Um, Jaguars might actually beat them. I would not be shocked. I mean, Jaguars have moments. They're just too young. And they're
Yeah.
making too many mistakes. Um, you've got the Tennessee Titans, by the way, in first place. Derrick Henry just rushed for over 200 yards. I knew, my dogs knew, that they were going to come in and run the ball, and the Texans still couldn't stop him.
Right.
I mean, he went over for 200 for the third straight time. You have a Chiefs team probably licking their chops off a bye. Andy Reid, and if you don't know, I'll tell you, he's 20-3 off a bye.
Yeah.
Open to 10.5, 12.5, prime time worries me. There's very nice people on gambling Twitter that I listen to and I concur with many times. And, there's a few that will say, primetime game, you take the dog or pass. That one smells, Riley. I got a feeling that might be 30-3 before your seat is warm. You've got a Titan team, Tannehill coming back, maybe. Titan team that likes to run. They're going to have to run the ball, but the Chiefs are really good against the run.
Yeah.
I think the Chief defense this year. It's funny because I was talking to my brethren out here, and the whole concept right now is that it's the Bills Super Bowl. It's the Bills out of the AFC. I'm not disagreeing, but I have a funny feeling that if they meet again, the Chiefs will beat them. I have a belief that Patrick Mahomes has a slight chip on his shoulder because all the talk are the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of weapons. The Tyreek Hill trade was good for both teams. I mean, who's scoring a touchdown for the Chiefs tomorrow on Sunday? You've got 8 or 9 guys that can score,
Right.
Riley. I mean, that team is loaded. I think that team legitimately can go back to the Super Bowl and win. I don't think anybody in the NFC will touch in their A game the Chiefs or the Bills. I can only play the Chiefs in that game. Monday night, I hate Monday nights. I never win on Monday nights. We are 1-5 this year in the Circa in prime time. I told the guys this week, if you give me one of your choices and they're a Monday night game, throw it in the trash and shred it. I'm not touching it. Can the Saints win? Yes. Can Baltimore win? Yes. Why play the game? Now, if you're a DGen and you love gambling and God bless you, and you want to touch that game on Monday night, okay. I'd say it's Ravens or pass for me. Lamar's 13-1 against the AFC. His only loss was this year, and it was against the Giants. Mm-hmm. And it was a fortunate win by the Giants. And I was happy because I was in Vegas watching the game. We were very fortunate to cash that ticket. So, I mean, there's 6 teams on a bye this week. I think the prevailing consensus out there is there's a lot of action on the Commanders. Money's coming in on Seattle. A lot of money, I think, is coming in on the Dolphins out near you. Heard there's going to be good weather. I don't trust the Bears, Riley. I think they have found something with Fields in those schemes, where they're using him in his legs. What do you think there? Is there anything that is enticing you this week, my friend?
You know what? It's a stay away for the most part. The warm weather team, like you said, warm weather team traveling to Chicago would scare me. But like you said, it's going to be nice weather. It's been nice here this week. It's going to be nice weather that day. And you're right. You and I, we've been talking the last couple of weeks. You've nailed the Bears for the most part, pretty damn spot on. But they're giving away their best pieces defensively though, and they've got some young pieces, and this team has played hard. But if the Dolphins are doing what they're supposed to do, and quarterback accuracy, the speed of this offense is just going to be too much for the Bears. So there's part of it that's kind of smells to me because when you lay it out like that and it's only a 4-point spread and total's only 45.5, that really concerns me as far as those seem a little too good to be true there. But that team is just the Bears. Yeah, when the Bears they don't have a ton of talent defensively, they still are obviously are getting better offensively. But when a more talented team comes in and does what they're supposed to do, they beat the Bears. And credit to them, they've hung around and maybe they do that again. But it's a stay away. I don't trust their defense enough to be interested in them themselves though.
Yeah, and I think too, one of the things about that game that has me somewhat eyeing is the fact that on a neutral field, are the Bears better than the Lions?
After they just gave up their defensive players, I don't know, honestly.
Not sure.
Yeah.
And you have the Dolphins who are in their second road game. They're
Right.
kind of they're not in a must win, but they have to keep tabs with the conference. You've got Tua with Waddle and Hill. I mean, they're a machine.
Yep.
They definitely should be favored. They were favored by 3.5 last week against the Lions.
Right.
Indoors, you have a Bear team. You're going to have good weather. That game smells to me. I would not be surprised if that's a late touchdown by the Dolphins to sneak out with a 3-point win. Would not surprise me. I have no interest in the Colts and the Pats. I mean, you've got a rookie. You know the narrative. You've got a rookie coach. You've got a team. You've got Belichick. You've got a team that's playing okay. I don't think their offense is that good. I think last week was a little bit of a smoke and mirrors. I mean, if they get that interception, the Jets, they're up 17-3.
Right.
That turned the game around. So that's kind of how I see the board. I've got a couple of plays I like. If I like a couple of teasers, be the Rams. I like the Bengals at home. I would tease them down. I think the Bengals will win. My belief is that you've got a Viking team. Kind of to summarize, you've got a Viking team that's 5-0 in one-score games.
Yep.
That tells me there's regression. I am not a fan of Kirk Cousins because, for one simple reason, when my pocketbook needs him, he turns the ball over. And when my pocketbook doesn't need him, he looks like Fran Tarkenton.
Right.
And he's just one of these guys that just drives me bananas. And then, you've got a really good Sunday night game. Should be fun. It'll be good for everybody. I mean, I hope we have a good week. I hope you cash some tickets. I didn't want to take up a lot of your time because I know you want to talk some NBA. My condolences if you continue or have played the Lakers. They stink. Their shot selection is horrible. LeBron is throwing up 28-foot jump shots. Next time you watch a Laker game, take note of this. In key moments of the game, see how many times anyone but LeBron gets the ball. And if you ask me, that's their problem. Because that team should still not be a 31-33 win team. You still should have enough talent to at least get 40, 45 wins out of it. But it don't matter. I mean, it's the NBA. Milwaukee, Boston, Miami, they'll be there at the end. But I don't know how you do it, my friend. I cannot. You would have to drive me to drink and drink to bet the NBA nightly. I just could not do it. I applaud anyone that's successful at it. I have enough trouble trying to win and enjoy my winnings in the NFL, and it's once a week. People that do this for a living nightly, it's bananas. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah. Well, it's for me. It's very selective. I didn't have anything last night. Only 2 games. But one rule that I have right now is don't bet on the Lakers or against the Lakers or the Nets or even the Sixers right now. There's a few teams that I'm staying far away from. So that's the skinny on that. To kind of build off, I think you and I. I definitely don't think I have anything that I firmly disagree with you by any means here. The Vikings seem like they're due for some regression. Washington's cashed some tickets for me. They hurt me early on in the season where it looks like there might be some good spots. So Taylor Heineke's another case himself where he might look fantastic for 3 quarters, and then the spot where you need him, he turns it over. So I'm with you though. I had that one. I mean, Vikings 6-1, only a 3-point favorite. It seems like Washington could be a right side there. What were some other ones there? That Chiefs game. It feels like I'm agree. I'm probably not touching it in general. It feels like either, like you said, I don't remember what the score you said was. It's either going to be 28-3 in the blink of an eye or whatever, or it's going to be kind of close at halfway through, maybe even Titans having some success, and then the Chiefs flip the switch and score 4 straight possessions or something like that.
I go back and forth with the revenge games because I think they're a little overrated in the NFL when you have professionals. But the Chiefs, this is a revenge game for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
There's a very good character that I reference on Twitter, and his name is Ricky Roma. And he was a character in an Al Pacino movie way back when that, if you haven't seen it, it's called Glengarry Glen Ross. And he has a great line in that where he says, if the public goes one way, I go the other. And that has the smell of a Ricky Roma special. Couple things for you guys before I go. Got a couple trends you might enjoy.
Please.
And I'm contradicting myself because I'd lean Bears, but the Bears are 1-7 their last 8 as a home dog. Your Colts, if somebody likes the Colts and a rookie quarterback, they're 6-1 as road dogs, if you like trends. And here's one music to your ears, Riley Magnuson.
Please.
Packers, their last 4 as road favorites are 0-4 to the spread. Not to coach from the couch, but these are things to look at, and
Yeah.
Everybody has different methods, and there's no right or wrong, but just keep an eye on what teams are doing, how they're playing, and who's the road favorite. The road favorite cashes more than people think, and they're road favorites for a reason, but they're not all going to cover.
Correct. I appreciate you, my friend. I will let you get out of here. I apologize for being late to the party. These have been fun the last few weeks, so I'm whether or not it's just you and Jeff or the three of us, either way, these have been a lot of fun. So go ahead if you've got something else.
Mr. Dawson, wherever you are now in the Dominican Republic, I wanted to say hello to my little friend. Hey, we are 1 win away from cashing our Astros ticket, my amigos. Riley, have a great week. Enjoy the games. Good luck. And remember the old adage, have fun.
Absolutely. Before we go, I know we didn't get a chance. Yep, we didn't get a chance to talk anything baseball. But last thing before you go, what's the projection? Astros in 6 or 7, or Phillies in 7?
It's been a really good series. I hedged on the Phillies. I have a nice ticket on the Astros. I don't know because Wheeler has not been good.
Right.
If you put a water gun in my head, I have a feeling we have a 7-game series. It has the makings of it. There's been a lot of drama. There's been a no-hitter. My God, a no-hitter.
Yeah.
A no-hitter. You got a rookie that might win the MVP in the series. You've got one great catch to end to preserve a one-run victory. You've got Verlander to finally won a game, although he wasn't great, but he was good enough.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the Phillies, they're one of these teams so polarizing. They can hit 7 home runs, hit 3 3-run homers, and then get shut out or get no-hitted. Right? It's baseball. It's a great game, and I kind of hope Dusty wins. But I have a feeling it might go 7, my friend. That's my thought.
I think I'm with you. I've enjoyed the Philly ride. I'll say, I think it's going to be Astros in 7. So I think Jeff will be celebrating his leg of that championship parlay. But thank you as always to Mr. Lucky at Follow Fade. Go follow him on Twitter. Great Twitter follow. Great person to follow you as well. So appreciate you as always, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. Maybe we'll see you again. I'm sure if you don't see Jeff, or if you see Jeff, you don't see me. Maybe I'll see you soon. But either way, thank you, my friend. See you soon.
Have a great weekend, Riley. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
All righty. All right, Mr. Lucky Follow Fade himself, breaking down a lot of the NFL games this weekend. Honestly, not sure if we'll have more shows this weekend to do more NFL content or not. So I'm not sure if that'll be what we got on this channel for NFL, or if we'll have something Saturday or Sunday morning. I'm not sure. But to close things out today, let's just blast through the NBA slate real quick. As far as a handful of games here on Friday night, Jeff and I usually have a ton of success on these Friday nights in the NBA. I think only maybe a little bit of couple sprinkles last week. I think collectively we might have gone 2-1. I'm going to see if I can pull up last Friday real quick for us. We had a lot of it is fading the public on Fridays in the NBA and a lot of spots. Jeff Dawson always says, don't be the pizza man. I have found a lot of spots on Fridays in the NBA, as well as Jeff has, to really, really exploit that. Orlando plus the 2 points last week against Charlotte got the big win. I had Detroit as the other side. That was a loser. And then I think Jeff added in the Nuggets last week. I've got, I think it's 3 potential plays that I'm interested in tonight. Got my Bulls best bet of the day blog out. My pick of that one, if you're looking for it right now, don't want to read under in that game, is what I went with. The Bulls and Celtics played each other last week, I do believe. And actually, I kind of tiptoed around it. Typically in these Bulls blogs, I don't like to bet against the Bulls, even if I think that's the best play, because it's I buy a Bulls fan for Bulls fans. So I typically, even if the Bulls aren't the right side, I typically try to find something that, if the Celtics are the right side tonight, I'm not going to give out Celtics as my best bet on the Bulls blog. But it does appear Celtics could be in for a good night tonight. 120-102. Bulls win a week and a half ago. I expect the Boston defense here to be really, really stingy tonight. Give the Bulls a lot of problems. No Andre Drummond tonight. Without Robert Williams still, Bulls had a two-headed attack. Starting lineup and off the bench with Vucevic and Drummond really tormented. I think combined for 35 rebounds to the two of them. No Drummond tonight, so the bench won't have that same type of effect for the Bulls against them, in my opinion here. And the Celtics 4-3, 1-3 over the last 4 games straight up. One of those being the Bulls, and then 2 overtime losses to the Cavs. You take away, I mean, if either of those games flip differently, people are talking about the Celtics team a little bit differently. So I think their defense is going to improve a lot, and maybe that gets them the cover. Maybe the under is the right play, but Bulls appear to be a public side here. The Bulls faithful, obviously 5-4, a couple wins under their belt, starting to get a little buzz around them. So the 7 magic number against middle of the pack or better teams has kind of been going back to last year a good spot for the Celtics. So maybe Celtics -7, but my best bet out of this one was the under in this game, expecting the Boston defense to be pretty good here tonight. Cavs and Pistons, this one's gone down since I've seen it. Another one where I'm kind of fading the public a little bit on this one. Cavs team 6-1 against the 2-7 Pistons team. Why isn't this one quite a bit higher? These good teams playing bad teams. The numbers in which the favorite is the right side is 9.5. Honestly, double digits when it's a public percepted very good team against a perception of a bad team like you have in the Pistons here. So 5.5. Even I had it at 6.5. This one stinks to me. This Pistons team is better than the record says. I've actually been talking about them quite a bit the last couple of weeks. They've got a lot of firepower, hung really closely with they lost 2 in a row now, both at Milwaukee. One of them almost took down the Bucks, and then the other one the other day the Bucks bounced back, so to speak, as far as a close game in the first game and put the pedal down. So I expect that was 2 days ago. Now at home against another divisional opponent to have a good game plan in store. And the Celtics the Cavs coming off an overtime win against the Celtics have had some exciting games, tough games. So maybe a little regression spot for them. So I'm interested in the Pistons tonight. Then I'll skip around a little bit. Brooklyn and the Washington Wizards. If you think you can pick out what's going to happen with the Nets today, more power to you. Kudos to you. I have no idea what to expect tonight. The Kyrie Irving saga, whatever you want to call it, that's going on. He's obviously not going to play tonight, but it's obviously loomed large over this team. They're 2-6. Durant, I do believe, is ready and healthy to go. He's fine still. He's been playing really well, averaging 32.5 points. So probably expect him to try and have to. I think this is, he typically plays well in DC, so you expect him to have a huge night. But the depth of this team, when you take out more and more guys, I think Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, now obviously Kyrie, all out in this game. This Wizards team isn't bad by any means. Kind of in that middle of the pack where nobody's really talking about them. Nobody's trashing on by any means. They're 4-4, just coming off of a win over the Sixers. I have no idea what to make of this one. If you think you do, you think the Nets are a dumpster fire, you want to fire off on the Wizards, fine. If you think they're gonna, make a statement without Kyrie and perform well, then more power to you. But I am not touching this one with a 10-foot pole. Next one up, Miami and Indiana. Another one. I'm not touching it, but kind of a fishy line. 3.5 in favor of the Heat on the road. 4 and 5 Heat have not played their best ball. They've won 2 in a row. So you would expect them to have a little bit of momentum, but why is this one only 3.5? The Pacers 3 and 5 offensively have shown that they can score. They've got some scorers, obviously. You've got Tyrese Halliburton averaging 21.9. Buddy Hield's still in town. As much as people want to put him on the Lakers, he's still in town, scoring 18 a game. And then you've got, I don't know what his point production has been, but Ben Mathurin off the bench, Chris Duarte off the bench have been pretty damn solid for offensively for this Pacers team. So I'm staying away from it. Don't have a ton of trust in this Pacers defense. If the Heat show up offensively, this could be an interesting one. But tread lightly on that one, I would say, as far as the Pacers and Heat. Sixers and Knicks, 3.5 favorite spot here for the Sixers. Maybe if you're playing the Knicks, this one also kind of stinks a little bit. The Knicks 3 and 4. Knicks much better first half team. There's been spots where I think their side is the right side to take. They look great in the first half, and then the wheels fall off. So if you like the Knicks, maybe consider the first half. But I'm a little concerned about this one. I'm staying far, far away. No James Harden for the Sixers tonight. Maybe that's one that's driving the line down a little bit. But as we know with these injuries in the NBA, it doesn't always matter. A team can show up on that night, and people trying to prove something. The depth of the bench, might have a hot night shooting. You just never know. So I'm staying far away from that one as well. Memphis hosting Charlotte. Charlotte coming off of a loss to my Bulls a couple nights ago in Chicago. Now on the road to Memphis. This one. -11 for the Grizzlies. This one appears to be quite a bit of a statement, but it does appear that the Hornets have some guys out. I am seeing, as of yesterday, I assume this is accurate, Gordon Hayward out, Cody Martin out, Terry Rozier out. So not as much firepower here for the Hornets, but they've shown some signs of life defensively. So I'm going to stay away from it. I would say Grizzlies are pass, but I'm going to stay away from it for sure there. So let's see, a few more left. We'll breeze right through. Toronto and Dallas. Toronto's played well. Still trying to get a read of both these teams. I like both these teams in spots where they're playing a team that's maybe not getting too much credit, not looked like they're supposed to, and I had interest in the Raptors the other night against the Spurs. But tonight, this one, I think this is going to be a really good game. I might be interested in the Mavericks here, getting that much of a favoritism here against what you would put as pretty close teams here, in my opinion. So maybe lean towards the Mavericks, but I would not be shocked to see the Raptors winning this game. They are a solid team. The Mavs have won 3 straight in this matchup, going back to last May of 2021. And I actually believe October 23rd, 2021. I'm all over the place. That was early last year. So going back to season before last, 3 straight wins for Dallas. So if you want to ride that, maybe take the Mavericks on the spread or the money line there. Warriors, 3-6 Warriors, looking for a bounce back against the Pelicans in New Orleans. Let's see. I want to say the injury report for the Pelicans it doesn't look like too many people are injured here in this spot. Draymond, I think, is out. Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, all out for the Warriors. It is -11 for the Pelicans. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. All of these guys obviously out here for the Warriors. Second night of a back-to-back. Despite the 3-6 spot, they are almost punting a little bit here. I am not necessarily playing the Pelicans on the spread, but Pelicans coming off of a loss, that overtime loss to the Lakers, probably going to put the foot down on the pedal. But this Warriors team has some bench firepower and defensive scrappiness. They can keep this one close. So I'm going to stay away from that one altogether as well. Portland, huge dog in Phoenix. I'm not touching that one as well. Portland's been pretty good, but I think they've got some guys out as well. The last one that again, the Lakers, Utah, I'm not touching that one either. If you had money on the Lakers and you won, good for you. This Lakers team it defies logic whether you think they're going to be good or bad. It doesn't matter. They will burn you one way or another. Do not play the Lakers games. And again, they're playing a Utah team. Where are the Utah Jazz good? I don't know. They're 6-3. They could continue to be this team that nobody believes in and continues to win games. Or they could lose by 20. It wouldn't surprise me at all here. So the other two to mention, one that I'm considering playing that also smells to high heaven here is the 7-0 Milwaukee Bucks as only 3.5-point favorites. Despite it being on the road, this Bucks team is absolutely rolling and have not seen a spread. -3 was the last time they had a spread below 6-point favoritism, and it was against a Nets team still fairly early before a lot of the saga was going on, and you still put the Nets kind of in that same category of upper echelon of the East. Whereas the Wolves 4-4, coming off of a couple losses here, it seems like a spot where it's a little fishy here. I don't think there's too much to mention as far as the injury report. I think Giannis is playing, so tread lightly if you're looking at the Bucks. This might be a good spot for the Wolves to get a win here. So I have not played it yet, but I'm considering it. And the last spot that I believe I have played here, another one I caught it at 4.5. It's down to 3.5. Another fishy line here for me. Clippers and Spurs. Clippers on the road here. Spurs plus 3.5. They're 5-3. I expect them to regress at some point here, but offensively, coming off of a blowout loss to the Raptors, I think they'll bounce back here at home. They've been good at home. Their offense is nothing to sneeze at. They've got enough offense. I think they got some guys rested. Part of why they had such a rough game the other night. Keldon Johnson, I think, was out of that game, and he is back, averaging 23.9 points per game. There's a lot of these teams that are what you would put in the bottom tier of the NBA, but they have dudes that can roll out of bed and score 20 points a game. So against a Clippers team that's been fairly inconsistent and dysfunctional, they're coming off of 2 wins, but it's 2 wins against the Rockets back-to-back games. This Clippers team has still got some problems, so until they get it figured out, and until this Spurs team really, really regresses, once they're fully healthy and start to regress, then maybe I'll back off of the Spurs. But this appears to be pretty fishy, and I would imagine all the public all over the Clippers. So I am going with the Spurs tonight to close out the NBA card. Can't give you too much help as far as the NHL, so you're on your own with that one. I think there's only 1 or 2 games here anyways today. So that'll about do it here. We had a great 50-minute show. Myself, about 30 minutes with Mr. Lucky Follow Fade, talking the NFL Week 9 for this weekend of NFL. So with that, we will leave you to it. Best of luck this weekend. Stay tuned. I'm not sure exactly what we've got for content this weekend, but we'll keep you posted. Best of luck on the World Series, college football, and NFL. UFC, I imagine. I'm not sure whatever else is going on. NBA, college basketball right around the corner. Stay tuned. Jeff and I, and I'm sure plenty of other people will be on top of things here at East Coast Sports Invest. I know Jeff and I are excited. I imagine most people that are college basketball junkies are excited as well. So with that, we'll leave you to the rest of your Friday evening. Have a fantastic weekend, and best of luck, my friends. Thanks for sticking along with me. Jeff Dawson will be back soon. I apologize if you don't like me and you love Jeff. We're stuck with me this week. So we will keep you posted on what the schedule looking forward is, who's hosting, who's not hosting. I'm not sure. But thank you once again for sticking with us this week. We will see you soon. Best of luck and wager responsibly, my friends.